thanks for joining me on Aasai Rasai. Today I want to make some butter because I'm out of butter at home and I had this heavy whipping cream lying around. I meant to use it for a dessert, but I think I need it more for butter. So I'm using 16 ounces of heavy whipping cream and it's going to make about 8 ounces of butter. So whatever the amount that you put of the heavy cream, it's going to get you half the quantity of butter. And I'm using the whisk attachment. This is going to whisk away for about 10 minutes or until the solids separate from the liquid. I'm trying not to edit out the progression because it's pretty interesting to see how liquid becomes butter. So I'm just going to keep the camera rolling. I'm using the highest speed setting on my mixer, but you could go even medium speed if you want. It just takes a longer time. The only time that I actually reduced speed was when it started to separate and the buttermilk just kept splashing. So I've slowed down the footage because I'd sped it up before, but this is the normal speed, and I've also reduced the speed of my mixer to medium, just to show you how the separation begins. And now it's past the whipped cream stage, so it's becoming butter now. And while this is mixing, I'm actually pounding some peppercorns. I want to get some freshly cracked black pepper to mix into the butter. Once you have the basic butter made, you could use any ingredient to flavor it. If you want to make salted butter, just add the salt while it's still a liquid. Once it coagulates and the butter has formed, you might not be able to mix in the salt very evenly into the butter. Remember to scrape the bowl from time to time. I did it twice, but I think I should have done it a few more times. I'm using a long-handled spoon, just the back of the spoon, to scrape down the pan like this and move all the whipped stuff to the middle of the bowl. My spatula doesn't reach all the way into the center, it's just too short. So this works well. And just kind of push everything down to the center of the bowl and start whisking again. I restarted the speed at medium and I'm going to increase the speed to high again. At this point I have sped up the video. It's now going at double the speed of the normal footage, but the mixer is on high speed, so it's going exceptionally fast because I've sped up the video, not the mixer. And that's how it separates. You see, because I didn't scrape down the bowl enough, there's some of the whipped cream around the edges. It's almost butter, it's past the whipped cream stage, but I'm going to try and mix it into the butter. You can see how the liquid is separating from the butter. And the liquid is buttermilk. You can actually make pancakes out of it or biscuits. Add it into baking, pretty much anything. I think in Sri Lanka we call it moru. And there it is, just a little more. It's really hard to mix at this stage because the liquid just splashes everywhere. So you would want to go on the lowest speed setting if at all possible. And once the butter has formed, it'll stick to the whisk like that. So it's easy to take out. You could also strain this or just take it with a spoon, the solidified parts that's in the buttermilk. You could just remove it with a spoon because the rest of the butter, as you see, is on the whisk. So I'm just going to use my fingers to remove the butter from the whisk, and I'm going to save the buttermilk for some baking that I'm planning to do tomorrow. And that background chatter are my kids playing Minecraft. It's summer vacation, so they're at home, and we're trying to get a lot of interesting things done. So just squeeze out all the buttermilk. This is a very important thing you need to do. You need to squeeze out every bit of the buttermilk if you want the butter to last longer than 1 week. Otherwise, it's going to become sour and you'll have to throw it out. So squeeze the butter like this until all the buttermilk has come out. You could also do this in cold water, but I'm just going to wash the butter in cold water after this. Once you have squeezed everything out as much as possible, wash the butter in cold running water like tap water, and then give it a nice pat. Sometimes when you cut into the butter, you'll find spots of liquid oozing out like the buttermilk. That means you haven't squeezed it out enough. You could also use a strainer to press down the butter and to squeeze out the liquid. I didn't want to do all that because it's such a small quantity and I'm planning on using it up pretty quickly. And that's butter. Nice unsalted fresh butter. It tastes so much different. It's really hard to explain why it tastes different but to the store-bought butter, but if you compare the two, you'll find that the homemade butter is much richer and creamier. Now I'm going to make some pepper butter, and this is the black pepper and that I was crushing, and I'm adding just a little bit of salt. I'm taking about a quarter of the amount of the butter that I made. I'm going to mix it into the pepper. Once you have the basic butter made, you can actually add anything you want into it to make it a fun flavor. So I'm using pepper now, but you could add garlic, you could add Italian herbs, maybe some dried pepper flakes, pretty much anything that you like. And that's ready too. And you saw how simple ingredients can make delicious food, especially if you're on a low sodium diet and you want to control the amount of salt that you take. Making your own butter can actually help to reduce the salt that you take from butter because they add so much salt into commercially made butter. And here's how it spreads very nicely, very creamy, and that's my warm toast. And now you know how to make butter and different ways you can flavor the butter, and I hope you will try this out. Although homemade butter is a little more expensive than store-bought butter, it's so worth it. Try it out even once and you'll know the difference. It's very rich and creamy and tasty. So thanks for watching, and I'll be back with another recipe soon. Meanwhile, check out all the other videos on Aasai Rasai YouTube. I'm also on Pinterest and Facebook. Bye for now.